So this episode was the gang up on Quad episode, I see. The takedown of Quad episode is what this was. Yeah, we definitely gonna chat. We gonna talk.
She just let me know, but they show no fish. Didn't say you found it, but she's still gonna hold on. Didn't say you found it, but she doesn't want.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl Bonnie Scotch. Thank you so much for clicking on my video today. I wanted to bring you a review / recap for Married to Medicine. This is season 10, episode 6. And before I get into this episode, I wanted to start with my sincerest apologies for getting this review out to you all so late. I try to get my Potomac and Married to Medicine reviews out in the same day because they both drop on Peacock on Monday. But I had so much trouble with this review because I was deeply troubled watching this episode. Let's jump into it because we got a lot to discuss, okay? I want to thank all of my new subscribers from my last Married to Medicine recap, okay? You all have been showing me so much love, not only in the comments, but also by hitting that like button. And when you hit the like button, it's not only a free way of supporting my channel, but what it also does is it shoots my content out to viewers just like you, to an audience who ordinarily would not have exposure to my channel. So sincerest thanks to all of you who have recently subscribed, who got down in the comments with me, and who let me know that y'all are rocking with my commentary. All right, so let's jump into this episode. We start this episode with Toya saying to Jackie, Heavenly, and Simone that this is the first time that they met in years. That is a clear indication that you all are not friends. But I'm supposed to believe that this is a tight-knit friendship group and a sisterhood. Okay? Toya is planning a trip to Napa. She's talking about how she's taking these girls somewhere where they can step their game up. Toya, what the hell are you talking about? If anybody needed to step their game up, it was you. These women are doctors. They're all bougie. They all got their own shit going on. You finally just got some business about you after 10 years of being on this show, and you want to talk about how you want to help somebody step their game up? You're not even making sense, and this is why people don't fuck with you. Anyway, I tried to give you a chance, Toya. I tried to start with a clean slate with you this season, but I see that I'm going to have to get off in your ass, okay? No problem. Toya is telling these women that she's planning a trip to Napa and how she's meeting with all these VPs and how it doesn't make sense for Quad to be there because she wants to be seen in a positive light. Toya, you were the one who was having a fight in the very first episode in the very first season of Married to Medicine. Just last season, you tried to jump up to try to fight Anila and her friends for talking shit about you. If anything, you are perceived to be the most ghetto one on this show. So I don't understand what you're saying. Toya says that there was never any apology for what Quad did wrong. Now, according to my memory, Quad didn't do shit to anybody in this cast but Toya. So what would she be apologizing to Heavenly for? What is she apologizing to Simone and Jackie for? What has Quad done to these women that is so offensive? Name them.
Name them. Name them.
Well, what
Name
you
'em.
did was ridiculous.
Name 'em.
Not having.
Name 'em.
Well, be quiet. So
Name
let me
'em.
talk.
Years ago, Quad took her ass over to Sister Circle and she dropped y'all like a bad habit. And I understand why. Because whenever she was going through her divorce with Gregory, all of you still wanted to hang out with Gregory and talk about what a great friend he was to you all. When we knew that that man was dragging her down the steps, right? Nobody supported Quad when she was going through that divorce. But y'all are expecting her to pick up the phone and call y'all and try to maintain a friendship when it was y'all that gave Quad y'all's ass to kiss? It's not making no sense. Toya is saying that Quad has done things to her that are hard to forget. Now, I don't remember all of the history of everything that has gone on between Quad and Toya, but I do know that there was a lot of back and forth between them, and I cannot tell you who started what. Now, Quad was definitely wrong for implying that Toya set up Anila's house to get robbed, but Heavenly was right there with Quad on the phone talking about Toya set Anila up, okay? Anila was also running around telling people that Toya set her up. And now Toya is back friends with Anila, back friends with Heavenly. So it seems to me as though y'all pick and choose who y'all want to forgive for the same type of offenses. Toya asked the women, where do we stand with Quad? Heavenly jumps up to say, I tried to be a sister to her. Did you really, Heavenly? Because according to my memory, you were running around saying that Quad slept with her contractor to get her house finished. And just last week, on Carlos King's recaps, you were saying that her and the girls from Atlanta Housewives were running around Africa taking scantily clad pictures for the gram, implying that they were some hoes. I watched the reviews with Heavenly and Carlos King, so I know she be talking cash shit about Quad, right? But she want to talk about this sisterhood, and she expects all of this loyalty from Quad. Now I gotta walk back everything that I said last week, because Heavenly, you are full of shit. And mind you, I like Heavenly, and I think that Heavenly is great TV, but I also think that Heavenly is full of shit, just like Toya, just like Simone, and just like Jackie. Now what I want to do right now is pull over for a second and talk about a term called double bind, okay? What y'all are doing to Quad is called a double bind. And I'm going to read off the definition of a double bind, okay? The double bind definition is a situation in which a person is confronted with two irreconcilable demands or a choice between two undesirable courses of action. A double bind is a dilemma in communication in which an individual or group receives two or more reciprocally conflicting messages. In some scenarios, especially within families and romantic relationships, this can be emotionally distressing, creating a situation in which a successful response to one message results in a failed response to the other, and vice versa, such that the person responding will automatically be perceived as in the wrong no matter how they respond. It's pretty much a damned if you do it, damned if you don't situation, okay? Here's an example of a double bind that I experienced myself personally. So I will express myself in a certain way with someone, and I will get told that I'm being too sensitive, that I'm a sensitive person, right? So when I shut down and I choose not to share anything with that person anymore, they want to turn around and tell me that I'm being too quiet. That's an example of a double bind. Here's another example of a double bind. If a woman chooses to stay at home and raise her children, she may be depicted as lazy and unskilled. If a woman chooses to be a working parent, however, she runs the risk of being depicted as neglectful and selfish. Here's one more example of a double bind. If a woman chooses to be an assertive leader, she may be interpreted as someone who is unlikable. People may resist her leadership for that reason. Now, if a woman chooses to be a compassionate leader, she may be considered likable but incompetent, so people won't respect her leadership. If a man is assertive at work, he's considered a boss. If a woman is assertive at work, she's considered a bitch. So it's my understanding that 2 out of 3 women experience double binds, and it prevents them from being able to authentically communicate and connect with others. So we have Heavenly always telling Quad that she's a sensitive bitch, but she's always talking about how Quad is a hoe. And then she's surprised that Quad doesn't call them and Quad doesn't want to come around. It doesn't make sense, y'all. Now, if someone were to call Daddy Damon a hoe, they would have hell to pay, right? Because can't nobody say nothing about Heavenly in her relationship, but she can talk about everybody else. Meanwhile, just last week, we had Heavenly confirm in her review with Carlos King that she indeed went up Damon's head with a skillet because he came in late from some event. But y'all want me to believe that Heavenly and Damon's marriage is so fucking perfect. Damon is a Q dog. I made the mistake of dating a Q many years ago, okay? Almost 10 years ago. And I learned my lesson the hard way. God alone knows what Heavenly has been experiencing behind closed doors with Damon. Do y'all remember years ago when Damon said that if Heavenly cheated, it would be a deal breaker for him, but if he cheated, he expected that she would be the one to stay? So I already know that Damon be on some bullshit, and their marriage is some bullshit just based on the double standards alone. But if it works for y'all, it works for y'all. Whatever. A lot of y'all be in bullshit marriages, but y'all want to tell people that they can't speak on y'all marriages just because they're not married. I don't gotta be married to see that y'all marriage is some bullshit. Okay? I don't have to be a parent, a mother, to see that the way that y'all treat some of y'all's children is some bullshit. Okay? Because I was once a child, and I remember what it's like to be a child. Hello? Jackie's gonna sit up here and say that bringing Quad on the trip is another chance to allow her to be accountable. Accountable for what, Jackie? Name exactly what Quad did to you, Jackie. Name it. Name them.
Name them.
That what?
Name them.
Well, what
Name
you
'em.
did was ridiculous.
Name 'em.
Not having.
Name 'em.
Well, be quiet. So,
Name
let me-
'em.
Toya says that we're giving her an opportunity to be a sister. We just need to make sure that she's genuine from the beginning. Y'all, please remember what I just said. Please remember that I said that and put a pin in it. Toya says they are giving her an opportunity to be a sister, and that they need to make sure that she's genuine from the beginning. All right. Then we got Simone talking about this is the core four. How the fuck are y'all the core four when Toya just said that y'all haven't linked up for years? For 9 seasons, we watched Heavenly, Simone, and Jackie, and Contessa treat Toya like the redheaded stepchild, calling that woman a dumb bitch. Now all of a sudden, this is the core four because it's time to go up against Quad. Do y'all see the bullshit? Now, shout out to baby Alora for going to FAMU. She's an absolutely beautiful young lady. She's so smart and funny, and it's been an absolute pleasure to watch her and the other Bravo kids grow up in front of our eyes. I always go up for the Bravo kids. I love them all. And it's really amazing to just see them go from these little babies and then going off to college. I mean, nothing will make you feel old like a kid who's getting ready to go off to college or getting ready to start high school or whatever the case is. So congratulations to Alora. I'm tired of these scenes with Simone and her rock-headed boys. The eldest one is tipping on 30 and hasn't finished school. Meanwhile, he has no real responsibilities and no job. Bitches like me was working a 9 to 5, paying for school out of pocket, and going to night school. So shout out to BMCC and Mega Evers College. That's neither here nor there. Shout out to the CUNY dolls, okay? We have a scene where Toya is packing for her trip. Can I just say that the most interesting thing about Toya to me is her dynamic with Eugene. Now, I don't go up for these niggas typically, okay? But Eugene genuinely seems like a good dude. And to me, he is one of the very few examples of positive black masculinity on TV. He's positive, he's supportive, and he's loving. And I go up for him. So they're talking about the trip, and Toya says that this is a girl's trip and she doesn't want to argue with anybody. Let's put a pin in that one too, okay? Toya is saying that she doesn't want to argue with anybody. Remember that I said that. So the ladies are in the Sprinter van. Heavenly and Letitia, the scammer, are getting into it. Heavenly told her that her man was old as dirt and she's the little girl. Now that did make me chuckle. Letitia tells Heavenly, I'm not going to confide in you no mo. And Simone says to Letitia, no mo or no more. That was Simone's way of calling Letitia a dumb bitch like they used to do Toya. Did y'all catch that? So they get to Napa and it is absolutely beautiful. And we have Toya saying to the ladies, y'all are going to have a good time because when I do things, I do it luxuriously. Then she's going to turn around and ask production if luxuriously is a word. Toya is talking about how she's going to step everybody up, but she doesn't even know if luxuriously is a word or not. Okay. Simone asks Toya where she's putting Quad. Toya says that she didn't get her a room. The girls are riding their bikes on the dirt trail. Dr. Alicia, who is Dr. Heavenly's friend, didn't put her kickstand on the bike up. Heavenly is going to say she's not dumb, but compared to the other bitches, she seems that way because we're so brilliant. This is how Heavenly talks about her friends. And it seems to me like Jackie is the only person in the group that Heavenly actually has respect for. So Quad shows up. Toya is going to say, oh, you didn't have to bring your luggage. We didn't know you were coming. Why the fuck wouldn't she bring her luggage on a trip, Toya? What the fuck are you talking about? Toya tells Quad, before you got here, everybody was scrambling because we didn't have a room for you. Then she goes on to tell Quad that she asked Jackie and Jackie said fuck no. She asked Phaedra if she would share a room and Phaedra said she would prefer not to. So Quad let her know, look, I have my own money so I can just pay for my own room. Then Toya says, oh no, we ended up getting you a room. So I just want to know, what was the point of going through all of that? You're trying to embarrass Quad, you're trying to make her feel bad, but you just told Eugene 2 scenes ago that you didn't want to fight. I just want to know, what the hell was the point in her going through all the motions of telling Quad, oh, these people didn't want a room with you, if you already had a room set up for her with Alicia? Just 2 scenes ago, you told Eugene that you didn't want to fight with the girl, but as soon as she comes into the space, you're antagonizing her. Y'all skinning up y'all faces as soon as she comes into the space. Y'all are full of shit. Also, what the fuck kind of hosting is this? You're a terrible hostess, Toya. If I were Quad, I would have took my luggage and found me a cute little Airbnb, a cute little hotel, or whatever the situation is, because you're not going to play in my face. Quad jokingly asked Toya, where do you have me staying, girl? Did you put me in a basement with a cot? Simone gonna say, do you really think Toya would do you like that? Simone. Why wouldn't she? She has the most animosity towards Quad. She wouldn't even accommodate her to find her a room when she knew that she was coming. What are you saying, Simone? Quad in her confessional says that this is where the bullshit starts. At the resurrection function, everybody was cool except for Toya. Now it seems as though everybody has a problem. So Quad is peeping the bullshit right along with us. Jackie and Phaedra show up. Apparently Phaedra and Quad were supposed to ride in on the same flight. Toya seems to think that Phaedra changed her flight so that she wouldn't have to ride in with Quad. So she asks Phaedra about it directly. Phaedra says, oh, no, it wasn't that. We don't have any problems. My son had something to do yesterday. Toya doesn't believe her, and she has every right not to because Phaedra is a fucking liar. We get a scene where the ladies show up to dinner, and Jackie mentions that she had a Zoom call with Kamala Harris, and frankly, I'm not impressed and I don't care. Because I remember it might have been, I think it was 2 years ago now, when Joe Biden was sitting up denying Coviana and saying that Coviana was over. And Kamala Harris was sitting up with her Dominican blowout, denying it right along with him. Like it's still not hundreds of thousands of people dying every day from this shit. She's a clown just like him. But you know what? Shout out to Jackie. I do appreciate her for spreading awareness around the mortality rates that black women face when they are pregnant. Now, Quad is a sharp woman and she always looks amazing, but she showed up to this dinner party looking like Wednesday Addams. I wasn't a fan of the look. Quad starts by telling Toya how proud she is, and the women all have these blank stone faces. Okay. Simone says that she wants to address the elephant in the room with Quad and the OGs. Quad says that she feels as though she could have handled things a little bit better, but she also feels as though she didn't have a safe space to open up to the women. Simone goes on to tell her that she needs to stop playing the victim. How the fuck is she playing the victim when she's expressing to you all that she didn't have a safe space to open up? I remember that once upon a time, Simone and Quad were actually very close. So when Simone started acting nasty toward Quad during her divorce, I really didn't understand it. In fact, I'm still confused by it. Simone asked Quad, why continue hanging around this group of women when you don't feel supported within the group, when you don't feel safe? The same reason all y'all bitches are hanging around each other, to get a check, okay? Y'all are showing up for work, and granted, it's not a traditional 9 to 5, but it's still a job at the end of the day, right? So she's showing up for her job with bitches she don't like, just the same way you showing up for a job with bitches you don't like, Simone, because you fell out with Jackie. You never liked Toya. You be bickering and arguing and cussing and carrying on with these women just like everybody else, and you still show up. Quad says that she doesn't have an emotional attachment to the women when all she wants to do is love and be loved by these women. Heavenly goes on to say, if you don't have an emotional attachment, then why are you here? Now, in the very first scene, we learn that the women haven't even met up as a collective for years. So it would appear that none of these women have an emotional attachment to one another. So why is it that Quad's feet are being held to the fire and no one else is? Heavenly tells Quad that her issue with her is that she hadn't heard from her since the last conversation that they had. She claims that Phaedra told her that she wasn't bringing her on the trip. And as soon as she hung up the phone with Phaedra, she gets a phone call from Quad, so she feels as though Quad is using her. But using her for what exactly? I even heard Heavenly in her last review saying to Carlos King that she felt as though Quad was using her, when in reality, it was Heavenly who was using Quad. Because we always hear Heavenly saying that she wanted to bring Quad around because she knew that she couldn't carry the show by herself on her back. So who's really using who, Heavenly? Heavenly lets us know that Phaedra changed her flight so she wouldn't have to ride with Quad. So we learn that Phaedra is lying, of course, because she's a lying ass bitch, but we already knew that. Phaedra says that she didn't want to keep bringing Quad around if it was always going to be a problem. Phaedra, you don't have no power in this group. Your whole MO, your whole storyline is going between Letitia, Quad, and Greg. You don't got nothing else the fuck going on. You scammed your way onto this show and we don't know shit about you. So if this is the viewer's first time being introduced to Phaedra Parks, what the fuck do they know about her? Nothing. We don't know shit about Phaedra Parks 6 episodes in. Heavenly says, my whole thing is don't use me. I've been a very good friend. I've been very solid with you. No, the fuck you haven't, Heavenly. Because every time we turn around, you calling Quad all kinds of hoes and saying that she slept with her contractor to get her house finished. So what the fuck type of friend is that? And like I said before, you're the one who's using Quad because you always talking about how you're bringing her around because you're the only messy bitch on the show who can really carry the show, right? So what that means is we can do without Jackie. We can do without Simone. We can do without Toya because them bitches don't bring shit. We agreed that Quad is the fan favorite. Heavenly is great for TV even though she's an extremely polarizing persona. And for what it's worth, Mariah was great TV, even though she wasn't my personal favorite. She was the only one who could get Heavenly's ass together. Now, we have Phaedra saying that she went out of her way to help Quad get back in the group, and each time she disappointed her. Phaedra, you got some big fucking nerve, you stuffed bitch. You got some big ass nerve because you can't even go back around to the Real Housewives of Atlanta and be accountable for the fucking lies that you told against Candy. Okay? You can't even go around there no more. So you're not accountable for your own actions, but you want to hold God accountable for some shit that you wasn't even around for? You don't even know the dynamics between these women. So how the fuck you think you can get between them? You sound so stupid, Phaedra. Mind you, Heavenly said in her last review with Carlos King that she let you know that she was going to ask you about the situation with the housewives and that you called the producer and told them to tell Heavenly to back up off you because you didn't want to answer to no questions about your damn lies and your allegations against Candy. So get the fuck out of my face with, oh, you trying to bring Quad around and you trying to hold them accountable. You can't hold your own motherfucking self accountable, Phaedra. So get the fuck out of my face right now. Now we have Heavenly airing out that Quad said that Phaedra is a liar, which we all know. Phaedra told them that she never dated Gregory, but Quad tells us that Gregory told her that when they were dating, she used to ask that nigga for $4,000 a month. And guess what? I believe it, because Phaedra is a damn liar. Then we have Phaedra asking Letitia, has he ever told you that? And Letitia says, no, he never told me that. He just said y'all went on a date. So what Letitia says is supposed to invalidate what Quad says. Just because Gregory didn't tell Letitia what the fuck happened, that means that it didn't happen? You're not even making sense, Phaedra. You're not even good at telling lies. If you're going to be a lying ass bitch, at least tell a good lie. At least make it make sense. Then we got Heavenly in her review for the episode saying to Carlos King that the producers are the ones who want Quad off the show. So y'all all let these producers put a battery in your back to use y'all as a pawn to get Quad off the show. The producers probably knew that they couldn't fire Quad because we have all these colorism claims going around, all these racism claims, right? So it would be a bad look to try to get Quad fired. So they put y'all up to it instead. And y'all went along with the shit. Y'all, I was very disappointed in these women this episode. I feel like this episode was some bullshit. And I really had to take my time to process and just get my thoughts together and get my emotions together. Because even when I was dictating my notes to my phone, I found myself raising my voice and yelling. And I was like, I'm getting too worked up. This is crazy. This is probably my favorite reality TV show. And this episode was some bullshit. And you know what? It's probably best that Quad leaves and goes and finds her something to do. Because you don't need this. You don't need these fake ass friendships. You don't need the strife and the stress and the drama with these women all talking shit and being fake. Meanwhile, they cannot name one thing that Quad has done outside of hurting their little feelings when she went over to Sister Circle and made new friends. Guess what? Your feelings are not protected by the Constitution. Y'all are grown ass middle-aged women. It's no wonder she went and found new friends. Because y'all were not being supportive to her when she was going through that shit with Gregory. Anyway, y'all, that was the episode. Get down with me in the comments. Let's chat about it. Tell me how y'all feel. I understand that, producers claim about Quad having a big ego and they say she's a bitch and this and that. And I can believe it. I can believe that the fame and, being the fan favorite has gone to her head. And look, I will call my faves out on their bullshit. I can hold my faves accountable and say when I think that they on some bullshit. Just like I felt like Quad showing up to Letitia's pamper party was some bullshit. I felt like that was ridiculous. Her hopping up out of the casket was ridiculous. It just didn't need to be done. We don't need the stunts and shows. So I don't have a problem holding my faves accountable, and I enjoy Quad a lot. Quad is one of my favorites on the show. Simone is one of my favorites on the show. And I really enjoy Heavenly as well. Those are my, I would say my top 3. But this was some bullshit, y'all. And I really did not enjoy this. And I felt really disgusted watching these women carrying on in the way that they did when they can't even clearly communicate with Quad what exactly is the issue. They all want to hold her accountable for something that they won't even clearly state. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, y'all, I'll see y'all for the next one. Peace.
I've been all in my phone, I got options, and I don't wanna tell you to drop it.